So we're going to talk today about this little device. It's called the Ledger Nano S, but overall it's going to be about Ledger. Okay, on the screen, Ledger website. We're going to talk about the different devices that you can get and why I use them, right? So the first original device that I used back in the day, I've been using Ledger since 2017. This was the original Nano S. It's pretty dinky, it's pretty small, I'm breaking it, but as you can imagine, it's quite outdated now. You cannot buy these anymore, they are old. So if you do have one, you may well find that you are struggling to fit on the applications because blockchain has changed and developed. So like Polkadot, for example, it's getting bigger and bigger every time. The one I've got now is the X, which is much bigger in capacity. It is Bluetooth enabled, and we will compare the different ones now as we are about to unbox this bad boy, because I've never used it before, so it's going to be totally new to me. It's also still in the wrapper, so yeah, make sure you understand that. Now, Ledger, the different ones. So you got the Nano S Plus, which is one that I've got now, and you've got the X, which is what I use personally. So what the plan is with Learning Crypto, we are going to be using this wallet for our own company investments. So Ledger kindly sent one out to us, which was nice, and we can do a nice little video on it. And I do recommend them. I have used them for a while. I've had no dramas with them, and I think it's the most compatible wallet you can use. So let me explain the obvious in terms of how it works, because I think it's important. So let me just unbox it and I'll show you what you get in this device. So it is opened. It says a little word called trust yourself, which is pretty important, right? So we are talking today about the obvious, keeping your wallets safe and secure, and also your funded, right? This is the device. It's pretty sleek. It's a lot lighter than the Nano X, which in my opinion is very, very good. But weight size and the size of it, very, very different, which is good to see, right? So there is different capabilities for the type of investor you are. Now, if we look on the screen here, perfect for beginners. If you're not going to put a load of stuff on there, it's perfect, right? Obviously, you know, with the element of Bluetooth on the X, the capability is also very different because on the go. For me personally, I'm more of a computer user. I like to do my stuff on a computer. I know a lot of people have wallets and stuff on mobiles. I don't recommend mobile wallets. The ones that I do recommend have Ledger capability anyways. However, fundamentals are you need to kind of understand that wallet safety is key, and having a mobile wallet is a little bit dodgy. So it's up to you in terms of how you want to use it. But for me, I always use a computer anyways, regardless of the Bluetooth capability. It is a nice little extra, but for me, I never take my crypto outside my home anyways. For simplicity, for the larger screen versus the original old X, which was a bit clunky, and this has got more of a visual, bigger display. This had a very, very small display, the old original one, so it's a massive, massive difference. Anyways, let's talk about how to set this up. Now, in the box, you get a very, very clear and obvious URL. I know it's probably backwards to you guys, but it's ledger.com/start. Once you put that URL in, it will go through the command list of how to set up a ledger. Now, the one thing that you do get as well is the most important thing that you need, the recovery sheet. So in this little pouch here, you get a nice little recovery sheet. Now, this is all totally different to the last time I ever used a ledger for a startup, right? They've got a new brand identity as well. So you get a recovery sheet, and it's basically your 24 words. Your 24 words that you need to input correctly on here in order. So how does it work? It's very, very simple. You will get blasted random words from pen, book, sausage, computer, turtle, tortoise, whatever. It'll be random words, right? You must write them down in order, because what it's going to do is going to spiel it out on the Ledger device, and then it's going to ask you to input them in order again, or selected ones. Now, how does this work? You're probably thinking, well, how does this work? The device itself is just an encryption. It's just a private key going and linking to the public addresses that has been generated, right? So when we look at the obvious here of how to keep your 24 keyword phrase very much safe, best practices, in my opinion, get yourself one of these. A fireproof wallet. Simple fireproof wallet. Buy yourself a safe as well, put it in there. If you want to go the extra length, if you want to laminate your, your bits of paper to kind of, make sure it doesn't get wet as well, it helps massively. So how does it work is obviously this is kind of the obvious checklist here. Feel free to look on the link and look on Ledger to get some tips, but for me, I always recommend you write them down. I always recommend a fireproof wallet. I always recommend, if needed, laminate it as well, just to make it, that added protection, just to make it better, because pen obviously rubs, you don't want to get it smudged or wet or any point like that. And obviously the obvious is, don't tell anyone. Fuck. If anyone emails you and asks you for a certain word from your Ledger, because it is Ledger support, comes into your email addresses or anything like that, make sure you understand that. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to set up this device. I'm going to show you the obvious of how to do it, and then we'll go through the likes of Ledger Live. But before I go, I now want to get asked a question. Can people guess your recovery phrase and how does it work? Now, this is how it's generated, right? They are, as I say, random words. They are so mental. So what this does is, for an average user, the random word of a dog or a cat or a microphone, teleremote, whatever, I don't know, random words, is obviously generated into a code, which is one big massive key thing. It's like a massive hex key basically, and what that'll do is it'll be your private key. No point is Ledger exposing your private key when you are signing into a blockchain, which is hugely important. So the next part of this, you need to get your little trusty cable and you need to plug it into your device. It's relatively straightforward. And once that happens, you need to then go to the link on here. If you want to go through all the information, feel free to do so. There's a load of random stuff that may help you. There's a really good one. You probably should read it as well, to be fair, because this is kind of obvious. There's a one that says get started. This will tell you exactly what to do, but in my opinion, it's very, very, very straightforward. The device will tell you as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to turbo through it. I'm not going to go through the boring stuff of this is the words, because obviously I can't give you the words, but you will see on the device how it works. So the device is now set up. When you plug in the device, it will ask you for a PIN code to create. You can create a PIN code. This is very, very straightforward. Highly recommended that you write it down as well if you need to, but it should be something from memory, right? Make sure it really is obvious. It works as a really good second encryption and it works very, very well. So one thing I will say, do not forget it neither. Super straightforward. Anyways, when you go onto the device, it will give you instructions very, very clearly how to use the device. So the double tap on the click, the left and the right, very, very straightforward on the buttons. I'm not trying to teach you how to suck eggs here. However, when you do the keywords, make sure you understand this. The device cable is very small, so my laptop's over there. You can't really see where because my desk is huge. I've got to go over to the other side of my desk to do it. So if you've got, a laptop, it'd be totally fine. If you've got a setup like me, it's a bit awkward. Anyways, moving on. Ledger Live. So when you download this device, or when you set up the device, sorry, so you write down the words, you confirm the words, and it will do it in that way. Then the device will be set up. What my device is now saying is install app, but you need to go to Ledger Live and download it. So what you need to do is download it and then go to Ledger Manager, which is what we're going to do right now. So this is Ledger Live fully on my screen. I've just put it within the windows here, so it looks a bit odd. Now with this, all you need to do is go to my Ledger. It will prompt you anyways to go onto this. So when you click onto here, it will basically allow you to do this. So in terms of the instructions, allow manager, which is what I will go and do. As you know, my thing is miles away. So do the updates, make sure you do all the updates and all kinds of stuff, and then we'll explain how to go next from here. So update done. It will ask you for your PIN code at the end to confirm it. Now, what we need to do now is go to install apps. Very, very straightforward this. I know, teaching you how to suck eggs a little bit. But once you are in the device again, it will ask you to download whatever. Now what we want is a new Bitcoin wallet. So when we click on here, very, very straightforward. Now the capacity on this device versus the previous one version is much bigger. It's like 3 times the amount. You can fit a lot more on here. All I really want to do is add an account for BTC, and I'll add an Ethereum one as well. So when we go onto here, we go add account. Now what will happen here is it will show you my other ones too. So if I go to add, open up the Bitcoin wallet, you're going to have a load of different wallets on there. So you can see in the background there my Polkadot wallet and stuff like that, but they're on other devices, and you've seen I've labeled them too. So what we want to do here, we want to label this and name this something else. So for obvious reasons, this is going to be learning crypto. There we go. So when we go add account, that is now successfully added. So this account here is for this wallet. Now, if we want to add stuff to it, we just press receive. Go through this situation here, very, very straightforward. And what we're actually going to be doing is going to be confirming on the device as well, you know, is this the address? So as you can see here, that is the address. I have masked most of it out for obvious reasons, but you can see that that is an address there that you can send money to. Now on the device, it will actually show it too, and it'll ask you to approve it. So it asks you to prove that that is the device. Now with Bitcoin, the wallet address, the public address, due to the privacy of it, will change. So don't get confused. If you start off with one, it will always remain one. Whenever you utilize and use it, it will change. It's just part of the privacy elements. Anyways, going back into your ledger again, back into, you know, the device manager. What you want to then do as well is obviously add more wallets, more capabilities. So what we're going to do now, we're going to add an Ethereum one. Very, very straightforward, similar sort of situation, as you can imagine, super straightforward. Now, the one thing I will go through as well on here is other wallets that you have capability for. Ledger Live does allow you to do certain things such as staking, which is really quite, you know, useful. So when we look at the likes of other markets and other coins, you can do more on it, but there's other things you can do as well, which is hugely important, which I will explain in a second once I've just synced this up. Makes sense, right? So again, feel free if you want to name your wallets, but there's probably no need if you don't need to. But there we go. We have now got an Ethereum wallet on there as well. So very, very straightforward. Again, similar sort of situation. Now, the one thing that I did say just then, this is pretty important. So if you go to supported cryptos in products, you can see all this. So you can see, obviously, if you want to just have an easy life, you can use, obviously, Ledger Live. If you want to use the more advanced stuff, you can. Now, one thing I will say, you can use My Crypto or My Ether wallet. So what this will do is, you know, you can basically set up a wallet on here, but you can access it via your Ledger as well. Same with MetaMask. On MetaMask as well, you can go onto that and press, you know, Ledger, and you can encrypt it with Ledger. So that wallet I've just set up then with Ethereum, I can go into MetaMask and I can use MetaMask with that Ledger using that address, and that is going to be used as the PIN code and the authorization for that, instead of just using it, you know, ad hoc essentially on the device. It is super straightforward to use. Honestly, it will tell you a lot of things anyways. It's really, really straightforward in terms of how to use it. The one thing that I will say is people do get confused in terms of like the element of encryption on third parties, but make sure you go onto here, because there's so many different, like, you know, so many devices. You know, you can, if I just put in, say, Near, for example, you can go Near wallet, and guess what? You can find out everything. Just go here, connect via Ledger. Super straightforward. Anyways, if you enjoy, leave a like, and yeah, super straightforward.